Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk. I'm your host, Pat Brock, and we are here at the Lawrence County 4-H FFA Goat Show 2017. And we've got some wonderful people here we'd like for you to meet. We consider them subject matter experts, and you'll see some that are generational, where they started out as kids and now their children are taking part. We've got the interim superintendent with us, Mr. Jerry Hatcher. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we've got his baby girl. Hope, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing very well. This is an opportunity for you all to kind of talk to us about yourselves and share with us your family, the family legacy that you're actually leaving behind in the art of goat show and pig show, okay? Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Floor is yours.
My name is Jerry Hatcher. I actually started off as an ag teacher at East Lawrence High School for 10 years, and then I continued on my education, and now I'm the interim superintendent. My father actually was an ag teacher, and my two brothers showed livestock. I showed livestock. I have three girls, Hope's being my oldest one, and Hope showed swine, and then my middle daughter Laura, she showed swine and cattle, and then my youngest one year showed cattle, and then she showed swine the rest of those years.
And so here it is. You were one of those little boys at one time.
That's correct.
Do you remember what that experience was like for you?
Well, I do. It was a lot of fun, but you know, when you go through the process of having livestock, you know, most people think it is fun, but you have some responsibility because somebody 7 days a week needs to check the animal, make sure they got feed and water, check the welfare of the animal, and there's a lot of life lessons you can lose through the livestock program.
And so why did you decide that you wanted to make sure that your kids kind of fell along in your footsteps, in your dad's footsteps?
Well, I'll let Hope answer that one later
All
on,
right.
but I never pushed her.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. But being the ag teacher, she a lot of times went with me when my fellow FFA members showed livestock. So she was around it. So one day she came home and says, "Dad, I think I want to show a market pig." And so her ag teacher introduced her to it. So she chose, and then my other two just kind of followed along because they saw the fun of it, the things we were doing with it. And
Well, Hope, this has been in your blood. And so without him egging you on to do it, you kind of felt compelled that this was something you want to do. All right, tell us your story.
Yeah, so I got started in FFA when I was in 7th grade. My ag teacher, Mr. Reed Waldrop, it was the only time that there was ever an agricultural class at West Lawrence Middle School.
Right.
And Mr. Waldrop knew of my background. He knew that my dad and granddad were both ag teachers, and my dad was actually his ag teacher.
Right.
And so he said, "Hope, I think you should show a market hog." And so I said, "Okay, well, I'll give it a try." So I went home and told Dad, and they got it together, and I showed hogs from 7th grade all the way up until I was a senior in high school and couldn't show anymore.
Wow. And then professionally, you continued in that. Tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I went to college, and after I graduated from college, I worked for Georgia FFA Association for 7 years. I planned leadership programs for students who were involved in Georgia FFA.
Right.
And a couple of years ago, my husband and I decided to move home. And this year, I got the opportunity to start an agricultural education program at West Lawrence Middle School. It's a brand new program. East Lawrence got to start a middle school program last year.
Yes.
Miss Morgan Watt's doing an awesome job over at East Lawrence, and then I got to start the West Lawrence Middle School program this year. So we're rolling, trying to get some members involved, and really excited about the potential at West Lawrence for the FFA program.
And that is so wonderful. And the thing I ask students, I meet a lot of students often, and they tell me they're part of FFA. And I ask them, so what are you learning? What are you getting for being a part of that group? And so what would you say you want them to take away from taking part in FFA?
Yeah, so this is a brand new program, so education is a big deal right now. And I think a lot of students come into the program and they think, okay, FFA, that's Future Farmers of America. I don't really need this. I don't need to learn how to be a farmer. But we have to educate the students that it's not just about farming. Agriculture has over 300 careers. You use agriculture every day, from the products that you use, from eating 3 times a day. And so no matter what, it's important for you to know where your food comes. Also, one day, all of these students will have a vote, and it's important that they understand some of the issues and are able to be educated and informed about the decisions that they'll make. So we try to make sure that they know it's not just about farming and about livestock and about animals. It's a much, much bigger picture, and you use agriculture every day in many, many ways.
So good. You're making it so much more broad than what we sometimes have that tunnel vision about. And so, Mr. Hatcher, okay, you got Lawrence County Schools represented here. Tell us about the value that you see in students taking part at this, and some at such young ages.
Well, A big part of FFA is the leadership. We're just like us sitting here, and sometimes it's nervous talking to people.
Right.
But just like those kids today, those students got out in front, and they had animal with them, but the judge asked them questions and interaction.
Right.
And as Hope said, it's real raw. You think about horticulture, forestry, landscaping, food science, animal science, veterinarian. I mean, I'm just
Right, so
there's so many broad fields. There's so much you can learn, more than just the farming aspect.
Right,
And
right.
so ag programs, it's really built a lot on leadership, and it's instilled in there. And then that's just like these kids and this opportunity here, there's a lot of responsibility to learn every day. It's 7
Yes.
days a week. Go out there, they can learn something about animal husbandry. They can learn something about feed. And what I do with some of the smaller kids, when I actually was retired and went and helped them
Right.
at the farm day,
Yes, sir.
I related what you feed and what the nutrient requirements. The little kids say, what you feed them. Whether you relate it to what they tell you to eat a balanced diet.
Yes.
Well, the pig's the same way. You got to have an energy source, protein source, and all the vitamins and minerals and stuff. And if one of those lacking, the pig doesn't grow very well. So you look at the little kids and say, if you don't eat what you're supposed to, then you don't grow very good. And then you can talk about them as far as the medicine goes. There's withdrawal periods so that you as a consumer, when you eat meat, you make sure that the medicine's out of their system. Otherwise, if it's in their system, you eat. And so they learn that. They learn about if the medicine says take it once every 24 hours compared to once every 48, you relate it to, it's just like the doctor saying taking this 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day.
Right.
Then we relate it to, okay, what's the importance of livestock? Let's take a pig. What's the importance? Well, most people think of meat.
Right.
But you got one of the big ones people forget is there's pig valves. As me and you discussed off camera,
right.
They can use it for skin for grafts. If you have a hernia, they actually takes part of the intestines. The University of Purdue did the research and the study, and they showed that if they use that product, and you have to do a lot of processing to it,
Right.
it actually will do less scar tissue.
That's so amazing. You know, talking off camera with your dad, I mean, I learned so much myself just hearing him, and it's so amazing. And to have these kids involved at the level where you're starting them at, I mean, that's life-changing. Tell us about these kids out here.
Yeah, so these kids out here are awesome. Most of these kids are in elementary or middle school, and they probably got these animals back over the summer and have been working with them and training with them all summer. And, you know, I think a lot of people have the perception nowadays that kids are lazy and all they want to do is play video games and watch TV. Well, come outside and watch these kids with us, or go home with them and do a visit on one of these farms, and you'll see that they're learning responsibility. They're learning how to care for something. They're learning to be hard workers and developing a strong work ethic. And so I'm just so proud of these kids and the skills that they're learning and the experience that they're gaining. And we hope to grow this program and get more and more kids involved. It's a lot of fun, and I know from experience that livestock showing, it's a camaraderie with the students that you show with. It's a family affair. You get to spend a lot of time with your family. And so it's just a really great experience all the way through, from working with that animal at home, you know, going through the joys and the discomforts and the hardships of that. You know, we lost several pigs on our farm when I was growing up, and it was always a difficult thing because you make a bond with that animal and want to see it come to the show. And so we just enjoy watching these kids, and I'm so glad that I'm able to give back to these kids in that way too, and be able to instill those values in them as well.
And we thank you so much for all that you're doing and how things that you were taught from this one right here from your family and what you've been taught as well, and how generationally it's going, and how you're able to change the lives of our young leaders, and so that we'll have a better tomorrow. So thank you so much. All right, Mr. Hatcher, appreciate you, and Hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Chuck Harwell. I want to say thank you to the community for allowing us to help you in your financial plans. If you're looking for a personal banker to assist you in meeting all your financial needs, then let me invite you to stop by our location on Bellevue Avenue in Dublin. You'll love our location, our services, and especially our people. Community Bank of Dublin-Lawrence County, the bank that's service-built, where common sense banking never goes out of style.
We called Integrity Hospice in to help with my mother.
They took care of her like she was their family.
They provided everything we needed. They brought in the hospital bed.
If she needed labs, they could draw the labs. Whereas before, it was a day off work for me.
They brought in the bedside commode. They brought in the shower chair.
It was an answer to my prayers because I had the support that I needed.
It's a very difficult process for the family, but our job at Integrity is to make things much easier.
I recommend Integrity Hospice very highly.
All right, we've got the judge with us himself, Mr. Rusty Lee from Winder, Georgia. How are you?
Doing good.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, the people out there of Dublin, Lawrence County want to know about you. So if you would, take the moment to tell us all about you and how you got started and to where you are today.
Well, my wife and I started raising boar goats in 2000. They're just an extremely addictive breed. 2007, we showed at the national show in Duncan, Oklahoma. Did very well, had an overall reserve champion doe, and that kind of got us hooked. That same year, I decided to become a judge. My wife and I both did, and I've been judging ever since 2007 for a couple different organizations.
And so we're glad to have you come out here to Dublin, Georgia. Tell us when you are judging. Tell us what's the criteria. Tell us about things that you're looking for.
There's a couple different things. What we did tonight was a market show. Okay. So we're looking at the market side of the animal. What these are boar goats as a breed. This is a meat breed. Just like in cattle, you've got Angus and Simmental or beef breeds. You got Holstein as dairy. Same thing in goats. You've got meat goats and you've got dairy goats. This is a meat breed. So we're looking at the animal that has the most product on them, basically, with the least amount of waste. What's a consumer? What's the most ideal goat that a consumer is going to be looking for?
Very good. And we saw you kind of, you did something unusual. You actually talked to these kids after. I mean, you were able to, which is pretty special, and we appreciate you for that. And so what things did you really want them to understand and to kind of know and to what to look for in future judgings?
Well, I want them to understand about the animal, the breed, the biology of it. Every age, the older they get, the tougher the questions get. We want them to be enthused and excited about it, number one. This breed this species is such an entry-level species to get into. It's easy to handle, fairly economical to buy for the most part. It's easier for some of these kids to handle these size animals than it is a big show steer or big show heifer. So we want to keep them enthused, but at the same token, we want them to leave learning a little bit.
Right.
And
so what did you see from these kids and their goats? So you have a few out here that you really want to talk to and make sure that they understood what they need to improve. Give us your assessment of these kids and their goats.
I think the big thing is they're here. That's the big thing. We've got them out here. They've got their animals. They seem to be enjoying their animal. They're a team. Between themselves and the animal, they're a team. And you can tell that. You can tell some work with them more than others. But that's very typical, like in any kind of sport or any kind of extracurricular activity. But we want to see them learn something. We want to see them stay enthused and involved in this. They can go all the way to 18, 19, in Georgia. So they've got a long way ahead of them. We just want to keep them learning and excited about it.
And what would you say are the benefits for the kids being involved at this level, starting out young, and then continuing to actually have the stamina and the desire to want to continue? What are the benefits from that?
I think the biggest thing is what they learn from the responsibility side of things, the husbandry of taking care of the animal. When you've got another life that's depending on you for feeding and water, that animal can't go out. It can't go to the refrigerator and get its own food out like you can. When they realize that, and that's so much responsibility on the kid. And I've got older kids that have been through that deal, and to see how it shapes them later. I've got a daughter who's in nursing school. She got excited about the nursing side of things, the caring for a life, whether it's a baby goat or whether it's a human baby. That's what got her involved. She was, kidding out goats when she was, 10, 12 years old.
Wow.
So it's amazing now to see that full cycle, that full circle to see them do that with the livestock, and then to get hooked, and then to see them make a career, not necessarily with the goat, but a career relating back.
Relating to it. And we see a lot of things that are generational, where some, like the parents started off with it, and then they're putting that, instilling that desire to want to care for livestock in this way in their children. And so we see it as family affairs here.
Oh yeah, it is. And it's, the boar goat came to the States in like 93, 94, so we haven't had as much history as the cattle and the hogs and the sheep have. But it is hugely addictive. It's the most consumed meat in the world. The United States is shipping in 4 or 5 billion pounds a year. So the demand is there. and there's no slowing down anytime in the future.
Very good. Well, we know that you come from good stock because you guys can't see this, but that belt buckle right there says a lot about you, your history of loving what you do, and tell us what's next for you.
Continue judging. I've got several shows that I'm trying to get that are my things I want to get to. I get those done. Some of the big national shows, things like that. Those are the best.
Very well. Thank you so much for being with us today here. Thank you for you coming down, showing your expertise, and then giving those kids that little bit of extra nudge of what they need to encourage them to push further.
No problem.
All right. This is Mr. Rusty Lee, ladies and gentlemen, from Winder, Georgia. All right, I'm learning so much here at this Lawrence County 4-H and FFA Goat Show here, and I'm meeting so many amazing people and so interesting, I would say, and the family members, when I'm listening to them talk, and they're talking about generationally showing hogs and showing goats. Here's another family, and that we're so excited for you to meet. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, we are.
Mama, we're gonna start with you. All right, are you ready?
Yes,
Talk
ma'am.
to us.
I'm Tracy Childers. I'm part owner of Cherokee Branch Quail Farm here in Dublin, Georgia.
All right, and tell us about your family and how you got started in all of this.
My family is originally from Ocilla, Georgia. My parents showed hogs. I showed hogs. We've showed cattle. We were hog farmers back in the 80s, and it was something I wanted to carry on a tradition with my children showing.
What kind of what were some of the benefits that you received yourself, and why you wanted to pass this on to your family?
A lot of responsibility I learned, but a lot of quality time on the farm with my father.
Yeah.
That was an awesome experience.
And to be able to do the things that you all are doing at this capacity.
Yes.
And to do it as a family, and the different, the value that you receive from that is really outstanding. And this is your baby here?
This is Heather Ann.
Hey, Heather Ann.
Hey, how are you?
Doing very well. Talk to us.
I am Heather Edge, and I am 4-H Program Assistant / AmeriCorps.
Very good. Now tell us about what your responsibilities are here with the Goat Show.
So I'm a 4-H Program Assistant, so I go into the schools, mostly elementaries, 5th grades, and I get the kids involved. We do goat shows, of course. We do hog shows, cow shows. But what we come in, we really want to teach them leadership, work ethics. They can take on through the future, even through middle school when they join FFA. We like to keep them going, to keep their leadership skills fresh.
And at what level do you start off with this?
5th grade, which is 9th grade. Goats there's rules to it. But we can start them in 2nd grade.
Really?
Yes.
How old were you when you started?
I was a young teenager when I started.
Okay. But you can start as young as 2nd grade?
Yes, I actually started in the 3rd grade showing
my
hogs.
gosh. And so if you had to kind of give some kind of public service announcement, a PSA, to the community out there to really kind of encourage kids to take part in this, what would that be? What would you say?
I would say what you gain from this is just amazing experience. That's something you can carry on to your future, to your kids. As for me, I've done it since I was in 3rd grade, and then now getting the opportunity to teach, I knew this is where I wanted to be in life because I love leading the kids.
Yeah. And when you watch your baby girl
I've actually, we've been in Atlanta, and I've watched little kids come up to her senior year and say, "You're the girl from the hog show."
Oh my God.
I mean, you learn, and you meet so many people.
So you've connected with people all over from doing this here. Because we want people to really understand what all's taking place so that they can kind of get excited about it, so that we can get more kids involved, and the things that you have learned from when you were a younger girl and now that are instilled within you is so special.
I stay in it for the future kids. I like sponsoring and helping. If they need help or they need someone to go to, ask. That's what we want to get all the children involved.
And so you guys are getting ready to go to the Perry Fair.
Correct.
Tell us about what's taking place there.
So, of course, you have the fair, you have rides, roller coasters, everything else. But you have shows. You actually can go and watch these livestock shows. They will have cattle, they will have pigs, and then of course they have the goats, and they also bring in llamas. There's a llama show, there's rabbit shows, there's chicken shows, there's just all kinds of stuff, animals you can show that the kids get involved in, that they love the experience.
Right. So this is preparing them for that, because I was told that at the Perry Fair there's probably a couple of thousand goats that are going to.
Yes.
Like
Oh, my
from,
Lord.
Like from other states
Yes.
as well. Other states do come in. Florida, we do have some from Alabama that come in. You know, surrounding states come and they get joined into the Georgia National Fair.
And so what took place tonight, is there going to be a continuation of that? Are we going to see that as well at the fair?
It's just on a bigger scale. Yes.
So this is preparing these young ones then?
Yes.
Oh, my Lord. So we're going to get a chance to meet the young kids from tonight and talk to them about how their experience was. So we thank you guys so much. Thank you for all that you are doing for these kids, the educational values that they're receiving, the leadership skills, and the fact that you've been there, done that, and got the T-shirt for it.
Yes.
That speaks volume. And to see that you're still here at it. You're here supporting your daughter. You're here supporting the other kids. You've been there yourself. You know the values of it. And so we're so pleased to have you still involved.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I've been practicing mostly preventive and invasive cardiology. Example, the other day I had an elderly lady about 85 years of age who was referred to me because she had an abnormal stress test that was done at her family doctor's office, and she was not taking any medicine, and she was referred for a cardiac catheterization. Well, that's I consider inappropriate since the patient was not taking any medicines under the guidelines and under logic. The emphasis is on treating those patients with medications, and only if they fail medications would you then proceed to possibly further investigation, such as a cardiac catheterization or the need for a stent, which I do, or the need to send the patient for a bypass surgery at a tertiary center. I don't have a mission statement, but my statement is go through life and touch people positively and make a difference in somebody else's life. And that's how I practice, and that's how I live.
There's nothing quite like a delicious meal with friends and family. That's why the newest and most exciting restaurant is now open in downtown Dublin, the Local Yokel Cafe. We specialize in serving breakfast, brunch, and lunch all day, 7 days a week to ensure each meal is a great one. Whether you're having our huge portions of eggs Benedict, omelets, or waffles in the morning, or our giant hamburger steak platter or jaw-dropping turkey avocado wrap for lunch, we are ready to please you. Breakfast, brunch, and lunch, it's what we do. The Local Yokel Cafe in downtown Dublin and next to Georgia Military College.
All right, we've got Mr. Gary Brown with us, who is a 4-H agent who's close to retirement. How are you, Mr. Brown?
I got one more day.
One more day.
That's right.
We want to hear about you. We want to hear your story and tell us about your experience with 4-H and then being here tonight.
Okay. I started in 4-H about 30 years ago. First job was down in Waycross, Georgia. I worked there for about a year and then moved to Wilkinson County. And I was in Wilkinson County for about 23 years.
Right.
And then there was an opening here in Lawrence County, and so I moved here about 6 years ago.
About 6 years ago. And now you're about to hang it all up.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm from Dublin. I grew up here, went to Dublin High School. So it's sort of like coming home.
Right.
And so that's why I wanted to come to Lawrence County.
Very good. Well, listen, talk to us about your perspective about the goat show and the different things, the aspects of it that some people may not even know or realize.
Well, it's kind of Jerry and Hope covered most of it, but
They got it all?
but they didn't leave any for anybody else. But I'll try to.
From your perspective, having you all here part of the 4-H as well as the FFA.
When we look at the goat shows, it's relatively new, and it's one of the fastest growing livestock events around the state. When you think about it, with hogs, with heifers and steers, with sheep, it's a little bit more intense. You've got to have more acreage. You've got to have pretty good fencing and stuff like that. But you can get a young kid involved in showing livestock by showing a goat with relatively with a small investment.
Right.
The acreage that you need to show goats is not as much. Goats tend to be just a little bit easier to handle for younger kids. And so they get to develop their skills in showing livestock and develop an interest in livestock and appreciation for agriculture in general.
Right.
And goats are a perfect venue for them to do that.
Very good. You know, as we were watching, some of them were being very naughty, like they didn't want to get out there. They were, so
Yeah.
the kids some of them were having a hard time just to get them out there.
A lot of the kids put in a lot of time to walk in the goats.
Right.
But you know, just like your kids, you take kids somewhere, your kid,
Yeah.
somewhere different and try to get them to do what you want them to do. Sometimes they just don't listen to you.
Just getting a little bit stubborn out there. And so, and kids, they were talking about kids starting very early. Some as, third graders out here. And so the value of this, just listening to them, is just really astounding.
Yeah, and if you see, we've got a fairly young crowd here. We've been trying really hard to grow the program and get more kids involved. And I think as we do more goat shows, we get more interest in the community. And this show should certainly help publicize it.
That's right, that's right.
And might develop that interest. But hopefully as these kids grow older, get into middle school and high school, maybe they can encourage other kids to be participants in this program.
That's right, that's right. And just talking to some of the people that are involved, they're sharing about when they started at a young age. So that's something that really sticks with them. And so you all are actually taking them to Perry Fair. When are they going to participate? What are the dates on that?
You would ask me
I
the
would
dates.
ask you that, but we'll get those dates.
But I think it's next. See, I'm retired. I hadn't been looking at my
that's
kid.
right.
I'll be retired.
You have one day left.
Yeah, but I believe that they're going to leave. It'll be the 5th through the 7th.
The 5th through the 7th at the Perry Fair. So we want to make sure that people are able to get out there to support these young kids and just to see how hard they've worked in making sure that these animals are, for one, disciplined.
Yes.
And to where they need to be. So this is going to be an exciting time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what are you doing after retirement, Mr. Brown?
Well, I'm probably going to start farming.
Are you?
Yes.
What type farming?
Well, we have pecans, so we'll be a pecan farmer.
Love it. I grew up in a pecan orchard.
Did you?
That's going to be nice. I didn't realize how valuable they were until I actually had to pay
yes.
for it. Well, we wish you much success. Thank you for everything that you've been doing these 30 years, the lives that you have touched, and the lives that you're going to continue to touch.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, this is Mr. Gary Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now is your opportunity to meet the champions. This one right here, Colby, grand champion in the weather division as well as reserve. How are you?
Good.
We're going to talk to your mama first, though. Is that cool?
Sure.
This beautiful young lady to my left is his mom. We want you to introduce yourself to everybody, okay?
Okay.
Tell us about what you do here, and also as a mom, a show mom, and also career-wise.
Okay.
And tell us how you got started.
Okay, well, I grew up here in Lawrence County. I grew up showing, I guess I was in about 5th grade when I started 4-H then. And I started out with show pigs. And then when I got into high school, I did beef cattle as well as the show pigs. And then whenever Colby got old enough, he wanted to show goats. So we started with the goats. Yeah. And then, of course, we led to the pigs afterwards. And let's see, I started...
What's the difference in them all? I mean, is there a huge difference in when you show a pig as opposed to a goat, as opposed to steer?
Mainly the only thing difference between a goat and a pig, a lot of it is that the pig, you're walking with a stick. The goat, you have an lead. So you're walking the goat in your hand, compared to the pig, you're just leading around.
Okay.
A cow, you also have on a halter, so you're holding them, and you have a stick that you have to use with them also.
All right. Now, how old were you when you started?
5th grade, so somewhere around 10.
And now here it is. You've got your son doing it. Very
Yes.
good. And you're also the chairperson for the livestock committee. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. And tell us what that entails.
That just means that I head up the livestock shows here in Lawrence County. I try to get the program going as much that I can. I try to give back to the program as far as getting fundraisers going
Right.
where we can actually do more things with our kids and go to more shows,
Mm-hmm.
and they can just learn to have a good time
Yeah.
while they're at these shows.
That's good. And we want the people out there of Dublin, Lawrence County to kind of know more about it, to understand what goes on and how they can get involved. And just listening to everyone, and they're talking about how they started off themselves doing it, and now their children, which is really a special thing. So we really want you guys to understand that too, of the values that come from this.
Right, right. Yeah, we have a 2-year-old also, so we'll be starting all over here next year.
All over, very good. All right, here's the champion here. He's been waiting, chopping at the bit to talk to you guys. Colby, we want to know about you. Are you ready to tell the people some things about you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go for it.
I'm 5th grade and I go to East Lawrence Elementary School, and I show goats for a living.
You show goats for a living. Very good. And I see your belt buckle right there. Pretty cool. Tell us about what you love most about what you're doing out here.
Having fun with the animals.
Mm-hmm. And what all have you learned through the years?
That there are many different ways to show an animal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so you show goats as well as pigs?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, which one do you like showing the most?
Goats.
All right, and how did it feel for you as the champion in the weather division?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Now, have you worked hard to kind of get your goat ready for today, and then of course going to the Perry Fair?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, now the Perry Fair is going to be a little different. It's going to be a lot more people, a lot more competition. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Have you done that before?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and how'd you do last time?
Good.
You did good? All right. He's a man of many words.
Yes.
And so, just watching him out there and seeing the young ladies and the other gentlemen, like what they were doing. You remember those days, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And so what have you seen change in your son by taking part in something like this?
Actually, when he first started this 6 years ago, you couldn't make him talk to anybody, a stranger or anything. He was so quiet and shy, and now he's a completely different person. Like, he doesn't hush. He talks
Are
to
you
everybody.
serious?
Yeah. Right now he's being quiet.
He's
but
being
he's
this
camera shy.
This is the more reserved Colby. Is this true, Colby? This has helped you come out of your shell a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, some of them were telling us that they have made a lot of friends and made a lot of connections. Has that happened with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so you got the reserve for the doe. Is that correct? All right. Now, so how many goats do you have?
Too many to count.
Do you know how many? How many goats?
We have 40 at home that we raise, and then he has 5 that he shows here.
Wow. Now, how did you choose the one to bring here?
Well, we start our process. Our kids are born after the first of the year. You want kids born January through May.
Yeah.
And so once we're done with all of our kids being born, we pick the 5 best, and we go from there.
All right. Very
and
good.
then, he picks those 5, concentrates on those 5, and that's how we have to pick one specific one for showmanship for every show.
Right.
And that is the one, of course, that does the best.
All right, very good. Now, Colby, listen, we want you to give a message out to some other kids to kind of get them involved in showing goats or showing pigs or in whatever livestock. What would you like to say to them to kind of encourage them to take part in this?
That if you try many things, you can might like it.
Yeah, try it and you might like it. Mom, anything you'd like to say? Or did he say it all?
He's good.
All right, the Kinches, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
For over 21 years, JT Hanna has provided Dublin and Middle Georgia with quality promotional products and superior service you can count on. JT Hanna specializes in screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving. We also provide customers with original artwork and logos through our talented in-house design. Our website makes designing and ordering t-shirts easy. You can design, choose from an uploaded template, or upload your own custom logo to easily create a lasting impression. Customers can also create purchase sites to make selling shirts for fundraisers or events easy and stress-free. Whether you need promotional items for your company or next event, JT Hanna can help. We take pride in delivering the highest quality products, and we take pride in serving you. Try us. I think you'll like us. Contact us today at 478-274-1267 or visit us on the web at jthanna.com.
Every morning, you're up at dawn to take care of the land you love. So are we. That's why Kubota dealers are the best at understanding what you need and sending you home with the perfect machine for the job. We know more than equipment. We know you.
Freeman's Lawn and Garden. Call us at 272-2198.
All right, we've got East Side to my left and West Side to my right. East Lawrence and West Lawrence is represented. 4-H as well as FFA. Hi guys, how are you? Good. We've been watching you guys and it's been very impressive. We want to hear all about you, okay? You want to introduce yourselves to us, tell us where you go to school and what grade, your family. All right, we get it that you two are siblings, is that right? And you two are siblings? Yes. And we want to know about how you got started. All right, are you ready? All right, talk to us.
I'm Abigail Thickpen, and I'm in 8th grade. I'm at East Lawrence Middle School.
All right, and tell us about some of the things that you do there.
I do FFA and 4-H.
4-H. Now, what made you decide to want to take part in showing goats?
Well, my daddy asked me would I like it, and I tried it, and then I did, and that's how I got started.
That's wonderful. Now, are you like an outdoors person anyway?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you always take care of animals?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. So this is pretty smooth, easy for you, okay? How did you do tonight?
Pretty good.
Were you nervous at all?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now, had you done goat shows before?
This is my 2nd year.
This is your 2nd year. And so how was last year for you?
It was okay.
It was okay, right. And it usually takes a little while to kind of get used to things, get acclimated to kind of what the judges are looking for, right? And so tonight you would say you did well. All right, are you ready for Perry Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Now this is your little sister. Hi, darling. How are you?
Good.
Good. Now listen, we want to hear all about you. You've been hearing your sister up there, right? All right, talk to us. What's your name?
My name is Katie Jo Thickpen.
All right, Katie Jo Thickpen. Now we want to know how old you are and where you go to school, okay?
I'm 9 years old and I go to East Lawrence Elementary.
All right, now what made you decide, how did you get started in all this? Did you follow in your sister's footsteps? Did you kind of start together or she started before you?
She started before me.
All right, what do you like so much about this?
Having goats.
Having goats? Now, are you good at taking care of goats?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you feed yours yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you feed it? I heard the judge ask you guys that.
Mm-mm.
You don't even know. What does it eat? You don't know?
Mm-mm.
But it gets fed miraculously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, somebody feeds it. And you two are working together as a family. Is it cool to be with your big sister?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. All right, we're over here on the west side. Hi.
Hello.
Another pair right here, siblings. How are you guys doing?
Good.
All right, we'll talk to you, young man. Introduce yourself. We want to hear about you. Tell us about your families and tell us about how you got started in showing goats.
All right, my name is Kaden Hughes, and I go to West Lawrence Middle School, and I'm in agriculture with Miss Hope Carter. And I got into goats when I was in 7th grade. This is my 2nd year. I've been showing pigs since I was in 3rd grade.
Wow.
So I'm kind of in love with animals, so I love to show them.
That's good. Now, if you had your choice between, if you could only choose one to show, what would be your favorite?
Probably goats, since we can take them back home and we don't have to send them to somebody.
And so I was asking her, what does she feed her goat? What do you feed yours?
We feed ours 18%, and I don't know the other stuff, but all I know is the bags are green, and it's word show goat.
Okay, very good. Now, do you feed them or do you have your parents feed them?
Well, we kind of do a mixture. Me, my sister, and my dad, and my mom, we all feed them.
Yeah.
My dad mixes the feed. I go set up the trough and dump it out, and then when we had babies, Kayla gets to feed Superstar, and I get to feed all the girls.
All right, so Superstar is the baby. Now, do you ever get tired of having to take care of the goats? Or
No, ma'am. It actually relieves stress for me
Very
from school.
good. I love that. So after a hard days of work at school, you go take care of the goats and it's a stress reliever for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice, very nice. All right, you hear your brother right here? Okay, it's your turn. Talk to us.
My name is Michaela Hughes. I am in 5th grade and I go to Northwest Lawrence Elementary.
You know, I went to Northwest Lawrence. Go Little Raiders. And so listen, your big brother's talking about, you know, when he started off with the pigs and now with the goats. Tell us about your career.
Well, when Kane was showing goats, I got mad because I couldn't show goats yet in Perry, and so pigs. But I got mad, so I wanted to show goats.
Wait a minute. So you got upset with your brother because what, were you not able to? You weren't old enough?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. So this is like a sibling rivalry, huh? And so how has your experience been? How's it been for you?
It's been good.
Yeah. Did you enjoy yourself tonight? What did you like most about it?
Having fun.
You had fun, and that's what it's all about. You know, we're trying to encourage other kids, you know, to really take part in FFA and 4-H and like this agriculture thing where they can learn so many valuable lessons. And this is an opportunity, guys. We want you to look into that camera over there. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. You've got to give a message out there to some other young boys and young girls to encourage them to take part so that they can show goats or show pigs or whatever it is, and to kind of tell them what it's done for you, how it's changed your life. All right? Are you all ready? Let me give you a few seconds. You guys ready? All right. Who's the oldest? We'll start with this one here. All right. Are you ready to give them the message to encourage them to take part in goat showing as well as... Okay, you ready? Here we go.
For me, I just loved animals since I was little, so I just wanted to work with them. So I would just give encouragement out there, just believe in yourself and you can do it. And if you love animals like I do, you can participate in pig shows and goat shows here in Dublin, Georgia.
Very good. All right, are you ready? Go for it. Let them know what you love about it and why it's important they should take part in it.
I love doing goat shows because it's fun and I get out my shyness.
Very good. You get out your shyness. Okay, you ready? Okay, breathe. Breathe, woman. Breathe. Okay, come on in. Come on. Go for it.
What?
Tell them why you think it's important that they should take part in goat shows.
I think they should take part in goat shows because it's fun, first of all, and they're just easy to work with.
Very good. Easy to work with. Some of them were hard. Some of them didn't want to scoot out there.
Yeah.
They were fussing. All right. You ready to give your message? To tell them why you love it so much and why they should take part. You ready? All right. You heard it. She said it on the inside. All right. Well, listen, thank you guys for sharing with us. We appreciate you all. We're proud of you. I mean, you guys are definitely coming out of your shells. You're learning new things. You're relieving stress, which is something that is a great thing that will help all of you youngsters out there. So if you haven't taken part in a goat show, haven't been involved with FFA or 4-H, now's your opportunity. The Lawrence County 4-H FFA Goat Show 2017 is going to be taking place at the Perry Fair for 3 days, the 5th, 6th, and 7th of October. And so you're going to see these young ladies and this young man, and they're going to be making all of us proud. Thank you guys for sharing with us, okay? That's all the time we have for Real Talk, ladies and gentlemen, and please keep watching.